play host to the Buffalo Bills, also 3-1. Both clubs hope they're playoff bound. The scene is County Stadium in Milwaukee. Hello, everybody. I'm Bob Costas, along with Bob Trumpy. The quirks of the schedule in this strike-torn season have it that the Packers have not played a single game in Green Bay yet this year. This is their third regular season game in Milwaukee. And for Buffalo, after 4 home games, this is their first game on the road, and the conditions a definite factor.
You're right, Bob. And Buffalo over the last 2 weeks has played in very, very bad weather again today in County Stadium here. They still have the skinned infield out there, and it's going to be bad footing, but it's a day for defenses. And let's look at defenses. First, for the Green Bay Packers, any team that plays a 34 defense, you always look at the 3 guys up front. Jones, the nose man, Wingo, and Cumbig, the 2 inside linebackers. Now, these guys are second in the NFL against the rush. Outstanding. When the defense works, these guys have got to get the credit. Now, for the Buffalo Bills, their storied defense, the Bermuda Triangle, has just one part of it left. Smerlis, the nose man, Hazlitt out with arthroscopic knee surgery, and some doubt as to whether Shane Nelson will ever come back and be a player again for the Buffalo Bills. But these guys have not allowed a rushing touchdown in 22 consecutive regular season quarters.
On the offensive side, each quarterback, Joe Ferguson for Buffalo, Lynn Dickey for Green Bay, has a pair of great targets.
And we can report to the people in Buffalo that Jerry Butler, with his pulled quad muscle, will start today. 2 very, very gifted receivers. Good speed, great hands. For Green Bay, probably the 2 of the most storied receivers there is in the NFL, John Jefferson and James Lofton. Both very gifted athletes, although today I think they'll be decoys.
3-1 the records for each club. They've played twice in their history. Buffalo has won both of those regular season meetings. Let's go down to the field and get ready for the kickoff. Buffalo has won the toss. They'll receive. Jan Stenerud, at age 39 and still among the premier kickers in the National Football League, will boot it to get it going for Green Bay.
Just to the left of the picture you see there is the skinned infield here at County Stadium. It is an absolute mess. And, of course, Buffalo will have to come out from that end for the first quarter. It's always a factor, too, when you're on that dirt. It's very, very difficult to get good footing. And, of course, there's a lot of slipping going on. And Butler with the bad leg, you wonder about that. There's the standings.
Washington with a big game coming up later against Dallas. Only undefeated team left. And the Cowboys, Packers, and surprising Saints all at 3-1. Bum Phillips, toast of the town on Bourbon Street. The AFC situation, a bunch of people at 3-1 and in very good shape. But as we've mentioned before, 5-4 ought to be good enough to get you one of the 8 places in each conference in the playoffs. The former Kansas City Chief, Ted McKnight, fumbles it, and who's got it? The Packers look like they do. No indication yet. Yeah, Green Bay ball.
Mike McCoy made the hit. Excuse me, Bill Whitaker made the hit. That's always a factor on a day like today. That ball is going to be heavy, wet, and you got to hang on to it. Watch McKnight here. He's got, if I'm not mistaken, he's got gloves on. And generally in a game like this, they're good when you start out, but they get very, very damp and you can't hang on. You see the scramble for the ball. Green Bay gets the first break.
Robert Brown, number 93, comes up with a recovery. And from just outside the Buffalo 20, the Packers go to work. Both wide receivers on the right side, and then Jefferson comes in motion. Eddie Lee Ivory carries for only a couple on first down. Eugene Marv, one of the inside linebackers, makes the stop. Eddie Lee Ivory and Gary Ellis are the running backs. Lofton, Jefferson, and Paul Kaufman, the tight end, the targets for Lynn Dickey. And there's the offensive line with Captain Larry McCarron making his 100th consecutive start today for the Packers. And he's kept that streak alive despite a hernia operation and a broken hand. Gary Ellis carries down near the 15-yard line, which will leave them with 3rd and about 4. Ben Williams makes the stop.
Bob, a comment here on the Green Bay Packer offense last week against the Jets. As you watch the graphic there of the Buffalo Bills defense, the Green Bay Packers had a great deal of trouble running the football. And as a matter of fact, Bart Starr said that was the main reason they lost the football game. And I will also make mention that last year Green Bay led the NFL in takeaways. They had 50 interceptions and fumble recoveries. This is a great takeaway team.
Passing situation, Jim Jensen, 33, is the only setback for the Packers. Play fake, bullet over the middle, and through the hands of Lofton and incomplete. Not that it should have been caught, but he did touch it. Mario Clark, 29 on the coverage.
You can't be very fancy on a day like today. Dickey came into the game completing 65% of his passes, 7 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, leading the NFL in passing. And as I said, you can't be fancy. You got to go with your basic patterns because both receiver and defender can fall down very easily. Look at that turf.
Jan Stenerud will try now for the 309th field goal of his career. Only George Blanda with 335 has kicked more.
Talked to Jan before the game, and he said over the years all the kicking he's done. His left foot, his left ankle is bothering, somewhat arthritic from all the plants he's made.
Ray Stakowicz holds at the 23, and the 33-yarder is good. For the year now, Stenerud has connected on 5 out of 7. So capitalizing on the fumble of the opening kickoff, which they recovered just outside the Buffalo. NBC Sports presents the best of the National Football League, and today's game is brought to you by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. By Lincoln Mercury, offering a complete range of contemporary automobiles for 1983, from Lynx to Lincoln. And by Hertz, the car rental company that's #1 for everyone.
Green Bay to kick off, and Ted McKnight, the guy who just fumbled, he was with gloves on the opening kickoff. Now he's taken them off.
Jan Stenerud, a busy man so far with less than 2 minutes of playing time gone. McKnight again, drops it, trying to fall on it, and smothered inside the 10. Cliff Lewis, number 56, was the first to hit him, and he had plenty of help after that.
Well, with the gloves he fumbles, without the gloves he fumbles. I don't believe they have interchangeable hands on the sideline, but I guess that's his only alternative. You got to concentrate on the ball here. One of the mistakes players make in a situation like this is try to catch the ball with their body instead of trying to catch it with their hands. They can keep their hands dry, but their shirt is going to be absolutely drenched. You see it just pops right through his hands there. But he does keep the presence of mind to get the ball first and not try to make yardage. 1st and 10, Buffalo at the 10.
13-17 to play, first quarter. Butler wide left, and Lewis, the 35-year-old veteran, wide to the right. Cribbs has to fall on it, and he's down at about the 1-yard line. Well, Buffalo has had 3 chances to handle the ball, and they haven't done it cleanly yet.
I'm rather surprised. Buffalo plays in bad weather like this. I don't think there's any excuse for this. Let's watch, see if Joe Cribbs' eyes are on the ball. He did take them off, trying to look upfield a little quicker, and you can see that it's slick. They maintain possession, but now it's 2nd and 99.
Let's make a correction, although we said earlier that Jerry Butler was expected to start, perhaps because of the conditions and the bad footing. Lou Picone, number 89, was in on that first play from scrimmage instead. 2nd and 19 from the 1. Cribbs gets them a little breathing room with a gain of 6. George Cumbie, number 52, on the stop. The Buffalo offense, Joe Cribbs, in the 2 games back after his holdout and the strike, has gained 168 yards. Roosevelt Leaks with a 90-yard game, best of his career against Baltimore last week. Make the correction, Picone in instead of Butler, with Lewis and Bramer as the tight end. And that offensive line has permitted Joe Ferguson to be sacked only 4 times this year, lowest total in the NFL.
Excellent offensive line. Doesn't get a lot of press, but very, very good at both pass protection and run blocking.
3rd and 13 at the 7. They take no chances. Cribbs lost the ball. The Packers have it again. We'll watch the replay, but I believe Mike McCoy might have been there, or perhaps Maurice Harvey.
Harvey's got the ball, Bob. Now, the way this football game is starting, now you have the Buffalo Bills not running the football, but protecting the football. Ball is just slippery, and there's nothing. As a coach, you got to tell the players, just wipe it out of your mind. Go out there and play your game.
It is Maurice Harvey with a fumble recovery. 11 minutes and 39 seconds to play, first quarter. The Bears not selling out in time to have the blackout lifted in Chicago for the first time in recent memory. lead the Patriots 7-0 in the first quarter. And for those of you watching this game in Chicago, we will give you highlights whenever possible of the Bears game to try and keep you as updated as we can throughout the day. From the 14-yard line, after their second fumble recovery early in this game, the Packers go back to work, and Gary Ellis gets next to nothing. Fred Smerlas makes the stop.
Yeah, I was just thinking, you made that comment about Chicago. It's got to be 25, maybe 26 years since a game was not sold out in Chicago for the Bears. Would you agree?
I don't know if it's that long, but it's been a while.
It's been a long, long time. Look at that. And so far, Buffalo has not been able to get away from that skinned infield. It'll be a problem all day long. Look where they put the ball. Right where all the water drains off of the skinned infield. Very difficult.
Call it from the 13-yard line on 2nd and 9. Ellis again, a hole opened up, but they closed it pretty quickly after he picked up only a couple. Chris Keating, number 52, so far as I know, the only active NFL player who hails from the University of Maine. And on the stop, Urban Parker also helped him, number 62. Parker, who moved from the right outside linebacking spot to the left this year. As we mentioned at the beginning of the telecast, Haslett and Shane Nelson both out. And so Eugene Marr, 54, and Chris Keating, 52, get the assignments on the inside for Buffalo.
And Buffalo had to play 6 games last year as the Green Bay Packers take a timeout. It appeared to me that Buffalo went with 2 or 3 extra defensive backs, and I don't think Dickey had the right play call. Bob Schnelker is the man he'll go to the sideline to talk to. In the green hat, Bart Starr in the yellow hat. Schnelker's now in charge of the offense. Starr is the administrator, and Dickey is leading the NFL in passing. Something must be right in that combination.
Somebody asked Dickey what option he has if he disagrees with Schnelker's play call, and Dickey's answer was unemployment. The options for Dickey and for Schnelker limited here by both the position on the field and the field and weather conditions, Trump.
I'll tell you another thing, too. The Bills have allowed the fewest first downs in the NFL, and the Packers are second with 59.
Ellis, the lone setback on 3rd and 7, takes the pitch and doesn't have the first down. They may have to settle for another Stenerud field goal. But before Jan attempts that boot, let's go to New York and check with the folks at NFL 82.
Thank you, Bob Costas. This is Mike Adamle in New York. In Chicago, the fog has lifted, and the Bears have come up with this sunny performance. Rookie quarterback Jim McMahon has hit Ken Marjoram in the end zone, and the Bears lead 7-0 over the Patriots. Bob?
All right, thank you, Mike Adamle. Ray Stakowitz again is in to hold. And let's see, he'll put it down at the 16-yard line, a 26-yard attempt for Stenerud, who was good earlier from 33 yards out. And he's got this one, too. So the same scenario, a couple of Buffalo fumbles. Each time the Packers fail to move the ball. Neither team has a first down yet. Each time the Pack settles for a field goal by Stenerud, they take a 6-0 lead with 9 minutes and 30 seconds to play in the first quarter. Next Saturday, a basketball-football doubleheader on NBC Sports beginning at 1:30 Eastern Time as Kentucky, a winner yesterday against Villanova, takes on Illinois from the Big Ten. And that's followed by NFL 82 with all the latest scores and features. And then the San Diego Chargers go against the defending Super Bowl champions, the San Francisco 49ers. That's all next Saturday beginning at 1:30 Eastern Time on NBC Sports. Stenerud will kick off for the 3rd time. And as you look at Jan Stenerud, George Blanda, with more than 2,000 points, is perhaps out of reach. But very shortly, Stenerud will pass a University of Wisconsin product, Jim Bakken, for 3rd place on the all-time NFL scoring list. And another good season after this one, and he'll close in on Jim Turner for 2nd place.
Not bad for a guy who started his career as a skier at Montana State. Had no intentions of playing football whatsoever.
Last year, his 22 of 24 field goals, 92% accuracy, the best mark ever for a kicker with more than 20 field goals in an NFL season. Ted McKnight perhaps is through for the day. Robert Holt is back there now with Mike Mosley, and here is Holt.
And he hangs on to it so far.
bouncing off people. This could turn into something big. If he can turn the corner, he's out to the 45-yard line, so a marked improvement.
Mike Jolly on the tackle for the Green Bay Packers, and as you said, an excellent return. The Buffalo Bills historically have been a pretty good, I'd say better than average, special teams team. Now watch Holt. He has the presence of mind. Once he makes contact, to keep on his feet, holding the ball rather loosely there, but it does appear that he's dry. Maurice Harvey misses him, and there's the tackle by Jolly. Obviously the best field position for the Buffalo Bills so far today.
Holt, a first-year player out of Baylor, sets them up at the 45-yard line. Roosevelt leaks very close to a first down, and he has it in Packer territory, a gain of 11 to the Green Bay 44. And the Packer defense. Butler, Jones, and Johnson across the front in their 3-4 alignment. Anderson, Wingo, Cumbie, and Douglas are the backers. McCoy and Lee at the corners. Johnny Gray and Maurice Harvey are the safeties. Harvey has already contributed a fumble recovery in this game. 6-0 Packers on a pair of Stenerud field goals. Leaks again. Now on 2 straight plays they've gone with a single setback in Roosevelt Leaks, and Joe Cribbs, who had trouble holding the ball, has been on the bench at least for a while.
Last week the Buffalo Bills, in beating Baltimore, rushed for 245 yards on 56 carries by Cribbs and by Leaks. They held the ball for almost 45 minutes of the game, and they ran it with 2 tight ends, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers. So they're keeping Cribbs in the game to keep Green Bay honest, but this is a team that can run the football.
Leaks had the best day of his life against his old Colt teammates last week. 22 carries, 90 yards, couple of touchdowns. This is 2nd down 7. Here's Cribbs back in, and he loses it again. Fell on it. And they wind up losing a yard, maybe 2. Ezra Johnson pounced on top of him.
That's now 3 fumbles, correct? They've lost 2, kept 1. We'll watch the play on the line of scrimmage. Got a great story for you on Jones, 72. About 5 years ago, playing for the Buffalo Bills, he had holding call after holding call after holding call. And Chuck Knox just changed his number from 73 to 72, saying the officials were looking too much for him. One of a part of an outstanding offensive line, Ken Jones. Shotgun.
3 wide receivers, Frank Lewis, the rookie from Clemson, Perry Tuttle, and Lou Picone all in. Batted up and intercepted. Here's Maurice Harvey having himself a big day. Out to the 32-yard line. He's got a fumble recovery and an interception, and the Pack has the ball back.
I'll tell you what, I'll make this comment right now. I don't believe Joe Ferguson should have thrown that ball. Total zone coverage by the Green Bay Packers, and Ferguson just overthrew 82, and you see he's not set to throw the football, does anyway. It's tipped. Harvey there to make the interception. Estes Hood, number 38, got his hand on the ball. That's now 3 turnovers by the Buffalo Bills for the Green Bay Packers.
For Harvey, his 2nd interception of the season. Bart Starr, the Packers coach since 1975, quoted recently as saying that he's a much better coach now. He feels like he's matured as a coach, that he tried to model himself after other people, not necessarily Vince Lombardi, but other coaches in the league, and that wasn't wise early on. Dickey airing one out. There's contact and a flag.
Good call.
Philip Epps, number 85, the rookie from TCU, who caught 2 touchdown passes last week against the Jets, was the target. Buffalo arguing about it, indicating that if there was any kind of infraction, that they thought it was against Epps, if at all.
I think what they're saying is Epps trying to get to the football ran into the defensive back, and therefore it's just as much Epps' fault as it is the receiver's fault. I'll tell you another thing. Isaiah Robertson picked up the flag. They're going to mark this at about the, I can barely read it, but it looks like about the 34. He just made Buffalo about 10 yards because the flag was thrown down there on the grass, which is about at the 25. I'm serious.
Are you kidding me?
I'm dead serious. He just picked up the flag in disgust, and he dropped it about 10 yards back of where it was.
And you're saying the officials forgot the point of the infraction?
They don't notice where the flag goes down.
Steve Freeman had the coverage on that play and was called for the pass interference. So here's the Pack back in Buffalo territory and leading 6-0. 7:01 to play first quarter. Eddie Lee Ivory bangs inside the 30 to about the 28. Buffalo is the second most penalized team at this stage of the season in the entire league. The Raiders are the first.
Green Bay is the least penalized team in the league. They've only had 12 penalties through the 4 games they played this year.
Eddie Lee Ivory with 270 yards so far this year. That was less than a day's work for him. 1 year at Georgia Tech in his senior season. Remember that game he had against Air Force? 356 yards rushing in 1 game. Gary Ellis, 31, and the rookie from Utah, Del Rogers, 35, are the backs right now. 2nd and 6 at the 29. Ellis makes the catch and wishes he didn't. Spun down at the 35 for a loss of 6. Eugene Marv, number 54, was right there.
Excellent play. The Green Bay Packers are a very, very good screening team. And this is just a little swing pass out of the backfield. And what they try to do is tie up those inside linebackers with Paul Kaufman releasing off the line. But apparently Kaufman must have missed him. There's Marv on the tackle. And a loss of yardage. Now 3rd down and about 11.
Clock running with 5 minutes and 45 seconds to play first quarter. The Packers have not really moved the ball against Buffalo. All this movement from out of their own territory after the interception, courtesy of the pass interference call against Steve Freeman. And after their 2 fumble recoveries deep in Buffalo territory, they failed to get a first down. Dickey has lots of time, and he's got a target. Ellis makes the catch. That little sidestep got him the first down, and he's to the 15-yard line. They had a chance to make the tackle before the stick trump, but that little move got him the yardage he needed.
Not pretty, but very functional. 20 yards on the pass and catch by Ellis. Isaiah Robertson, you'll watch him, 58. The play will happen right straight in front of you. Watch Dickey keep his feet moving so he can throw it here. As I said, not pretty. Robertson does slip. And that is a world-class move. Good for 20 yards and a first down. And Buffalo's got nothing going right for it presently.
Gary Ellis in his 3rd year out of Missouri. 5 minutes and 22 seconds to play first quarter. That was the first down of the game, gained without benefit of a penalty. And the carry by Del Rogers. And here's Rogers, the rookie from Utah, down to the 5 and close to a first down. Charles Romes, number 26, made the tackle.
This appears to be a power play. We'll watch the noseman, Fred Smerlas, on McCarron. Smerlas does take a side. He stands up the center, but now it's the job of the linebackers. You see 52 Keating hung up inside. He's supposed to be there to make the tackle. And Del Rogers on a good pickup, 1st and goal for the Packers now.
There's Eddie Lee Ivory back in. They're shuffling the plays in and out with Rogers and Ivory. He says this is one of the few fields where both teams' benches are on the same side of the field. It's possible when you get way down here for the guy who has to bring in the play to run about 60 yards to get there.
Fumble.
Did they get it back?
He got it back.
Looked like he did.
They're putting that ball. Look at the bottom of that football. You can see the mud collecting on it. Bob, I think this is the only field now in the NFL where both teams are on the same sideline. Before this year, the only other one was Minnesota. I think all the rest have their respective benches on either side of the field.
The name would be more apt if it was Milwaukee Packers this year, because next week against Detroit is the only regular season game the Packers will play at Green Bay. If they get into the playoffs and host any playoff games, those games will be in Green Bay. But because of the quirks of the strike, just 1 game in Green Bay this year. Dickey found a target, but Kaufman couldn't hold it. There on the coverage was Freeman, 22.
Unusual. Kaufman with very, very sure hands. And you can see he has gloves on too. I'll tell you that as this game progresses, you'll see fewer and fewer players out there at the skill positions with gloves on their hand. Blitz up through the middle. Dickey avoids it. Ball just slipped away. Freeman, a good job, though, right on Kaufman's back.
People would be surprised to see how many passing records, even surpassing some of those held by Bart Starr, that Lynn Dickey has for the Packers. In 57 starts for Green Bay, he's thrown 56 touchdown passes, and this despite being injured off and on throughout his career, first with Houston and now with the Packers. 3rd and 5. Ellis. No, to the 4-yard line. Stenerud time again.
It'll be 4th down, and that keeps that string alive. The Buffalo Bills have not allowed a rushing touchdown in 22 consecutive regular season quarters, and they have not given up a TD in their last 10 quarters this season.
Last week, they didn't even let the Baltimore Colts cross midfield.
They barely broke a sweat. They were only on the field 15 minutes.
88 yards total for the Colts.
I'll tell you what, though, if you're Buffalo and the players, you got to think that you've got a chance. You've had 3 turnovers, a fumble, and an interception, and the grand total against you is going to be 9 points if he makes this field goal.
And a long pass interference call that went against you, which was questionable. They want to drive football before this attempt.
That's impossible. They can ask all they want. They're not going to get it.
Larry McCarron, number 54, will snap it. Stakowicz will kneel at about the 12. So a 22-yard attempt for Stenerud.
Missed it.
Wide to the right. There appeared to be a little bit of awkwardness in his approach, Trump.
It also appeared that McCarron snapped the ball very, very quickly. It didn't even appear that Stenerud was ready.
First score out of Soldier Field, 7-zip. The Bears in front. Moments ago, we checked with Mike Adamle at NFL 82. We'll continue to do that, especially for you viewers in Chicago, who for the first time in memory are not seeing the Bears because they didn't sell out in time to have the blackout lifted. Do I see Jerry Butler in the lineup?
You do.
Roosevelt leaks carries for 4 on first down.
You also see Joe Cribbs out of the lineup, and Curtis Brown, number 47, is in there.
Clock running with 2:45 to play in the first quarter. San Diego an early lead on Cleveland, and whatever magic the Browns had in 1980 has slipped away the past couple of years.
Yes, it has. Bad defense.
Miami over Minnesota in the first 6-zip. Delayed handoff to Curtis Brown, and Brown has first down yardage for the Bills across the 30-yard line. Rich Wingo makes the tackle. Moving down toward 2 minutes to play in the first quarter. It's 6-0 Green Bay, and let's check with NFL 82 in New York.
Thank you, Bob Costas. This is Mike Adamle at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. Terry Bradshaw has connected on his second touchdown pass of the day. This one 74 yards to John Stallworth, and now the Steelers lead the Kansas City Chiefs 14-0. Bob?
Back at County Stadium in Milwaukee, Bob Costas along with Bob Trumpy. First and 10, Buffalo from just across the 30. Curtis Brown carries again. A hole opens up for him. He fumbles the ball, and it looks like the Packs got it.
That's now 6 fumbles, 3 recovered by Green Bay.
No official indication yet, Trump. The ball did squirt out from under the Green Bay player for a moment, but then he might have recaptured it. It's the 4th Buffalo turnover. And Mike McCoy, number 29, makes the recovery.
See, he made the hit on the first one. I think recovered the 3rd one, and now this one. Good trap up the middle. You see Borchard coming through there. Reggie McKenzie. Brown jumps to the outside of the trap block. Let's see where the contact is made. 24, Johnny Gray strips him of the football. Packers have it back.
The only fumble, which they have been guilty of. Dickey pounced on it. Buffalo could rationalize this and say they're very lucky to be down only 6-0.
Couldn't agree with you more. They got 3 quarters to play.
The rain, which was torrential at kickoff, has slowed to a drizzle. Dickey. Incomplete. In the direction of John Jefferson, who looks up and says, what is this quagmire I'm playing in?
Nothing you can do about that. That's just going to happen. I tend to think that they'll stay away from patterns like that. You want to throw to the backs out in the flat, tight end over the middle, and really not stretch your wide receivers out too much in this mud.
Jefferson, 1,000-yard seasons each of his first 3 years in the league. Nobody has ever done that except John Jefferson. To the Pro Bowl in 78, 79, and 80. James Lofton on the other side, Pro Bowl 3 times himself, 78, 80, and 81.
Not a bad pair.
They've got a potential star in Philip Epps, their 3rd wide receiver, the rookie from TCU. 2nd and 10. The screen to Eddie Lee Ivory. Close to a first down, and that lunge got it for him. First down, Green Bay.
Tell you what, when you run screen passes as much as the Green Bay Packers do, watch Keating, 52, tries to jump around the block, and is in on the tackle on Ivory, but good leg strength. Ivory picks up the first down. You got to be a good actor as an offensive lineman, as a quarterback, even as a receiver, to be a good team at screens, and Green Bay is.
Less than a minute to play, first quarter. First down pass off the play fake. Intercepted. Picked off by Chris Keating. So there's the first Green Bay turnover. Buffalo will have it back just across their own 40-yard line. It looked like the receiver was open, and Dickey just underthrew it, Trump.
Well, it's kind of tough in this kind of field. Watch Keating drop back. Does an excellent job. As you said earlier, we think the only professional football player out of Maine shows excellent hands, even with the gloves, and then protects the ball as he's about to get hit. 74, Tim Huffman on the tackle, and Buffalo finally gets one from Green Bay.
Eddie Lee Ivory was the target, and looking at the replay, another defender had come over and pretty well blanketed him. So the best the Packers could have hoped for would have been the incompletion. Curtis Brown on first down is across the 45 and stopped by Mike Douglas, number 53.
29 seconds left in this quarter, and Buffalo's got the field, and if they finally get on the grass, maybe they can do something, play field position against the Packers and have them fumble. I wonder what the record is in the NFL for the number of fumbles or turnovers in one quarter.
Our statistician Steve Dans is here.
We've now had 4, right? 3 against the Bills.
Come up with the answer.
3 against the Bills and 1 against the Packers.
They're not going to get a playoff before the quarter comes to a close. A couple of Jan Stenerud field goals have the Packers in front 6-0 at the end of 15 minutes of play. We had 7 fumbles, not all of them resulting in turnovers, and 2 interceptions in the first quarter. And at the end of quarter number 1, it's Buffalo ball. They're at their own 46-yard line. Second down, and we'll call it 5. The pitch is to Roosevelt Leaks into Green Bay territory and close to a first down as Rich Wingo takes him down at the 48.
I repeat, last week the Buffalo Bills ran the ball 56 times for a total of 245 yards. And I tend to think that Buffalo will put in 2 tight ends and leave them there with 1 running back and just keep jamming it down Green Bay's throat. Although Green Bay is second in the NFL against the rush.
Both these clubs among the statistical leaders in almost every important defensive category. And the Packers especially have proved themselves able to score this year. They lead the NFC with 101 total points. Curtis Brown just dragging people with him. Takes it across the 45 for a Buffalo first down. Maurice Harvey, who has a fumble recovery and an interception today, made the tackle.
I think you'll see just about 11 Green Bay Packers right up there on the line of scrimmage, but once again, the Buffalo offensive line, there's only 1 guy left on that offensive line that was part of the Electric Company. Supplied the juice for O.J. when he had his 2,000-yard season, Reggie McKenzie. But the rest of them are great, great run blockers.
First and 10 from the 44 of Green Bay. Buffalo trails at 6-0. Dickey with lots of time. His receiver falls down. Did I say Dickey? I meant to say Ferguson.
We understand.
Thank you. Pacone was the target.
Tough ball to throw, but since the resumption of the season, people in Buffalo have been worried a little bit about Joe Ferguson. He has been off the mark, missing the timing somewhat. He's looking to the sideline for hand signals. And he should be used to throwing in bad weather. That's the thing that surprises me, playing in Buffalo.
The Packers have a fresh front 3 in with Byron Braggs, Richard Turner, and Casey Merrill left to right, replacing Butler, Jones, and Johnson. Curtis Brown to about the 40-yard line. This is going to leave them with 3rd down and 6. Turner, 75, makes the stop. How much worse is it on a day like this to play on natural surface, and in fact a natural surface that contains a baseball infield, than it would be to be on the artificial surface?
Well, it's an entirely different football game to begin with. On the artificial surface, you can wear shoes to get footing and play pretty close to your game. Here, not only is it going to be wet, but you're also going to collect some mud and dirt on the bottom of the football. We got a shotgun now for Buffalo. 5 defensive backs for the Packers.
And 3 wide receivers for the Bills as Ferguson finds Lewis with the catch. And he did make the grab. He did make the grab at the 25-yard line for a gain of 16. Packer fans thought perhaps he had trapped it.
I think that was a good call. You'll see Frank Lewis with a little different kind of glove, too. He's wearing basically a scuba diver's glove to keep his hands dry. They're rubberized. Watch this catch. The official said he caught it. And that's Ferguson's first completion of the day, Bob.
35-year-old Frank Lewis in his 12th year out of Grambling. That's his 14th reception this season.
Wonder why the Pittsburgh Steelers ever traded that guy away. They got Paul Seymour in replacement, who didn't even make the team.
They didn't fare too badly with Stallworth, Swan, and then later Jim Smith. Roosevelt leaks, barrels up the middle, close to the 20-yard line. A first down gain of about 5. Linebackers Rich Wingo and Mike Douglas on the stop.
Well, maybe it's the turf. Buffalo now able to move the ball down the field. They're in field goal range. There's no doubt about that for Efren Herrera.
2 tight ends, Mark Bramer, 86, and Buster Barnett, number 84, in the lineup now.
1 running back, 2 wide receivers, exactly the set they used last week. They're going to jam it right down Green Bay's throat if possible.
Pacone to the right and Lewis to the left. Butler has made a brief appearance, but not in on this play. Leaks up the middle, short of the first down. Anderson with the tackle. John Anderson, number 59.
Sure am glad I retired. I'm very comfortable up here in the booth.
We saw Butler for what? 1 series of plays?
I thought he was in for 1 play, but I may be mistaken. I don't know that he's taken the field. You see Lou Pacone's, even though they're not even close, similar in size, nor stature, nor race. I may have mistaken Lou Pacone for Butler there because the 9 is kind of washed out. I caught a glimpse of it. I think Butler is on the sideline with that torn quadricep muscle.
And considering the weather circumstances, unlikely to see him today. Curtis Brown looks like he has the first down for Buffalo before Mike Butler can wrap him up. There's an interesting matchup between Butler's 77 of Green Bay and Joe Devlin's 70 for the Bills.
Green Bay in a 4-man front. You see the nose man there generally in the 34 defense. Jones is in on the tackle. And this is, at that point, it was brute force. 3rd down and short yardage situation. Now Barnett comes out, back with Pacone and Frank Lewis as the receivers. And I can't believe that Buffalo would even try to throw the football here.
First down, Trump. The ball at the 14-yard line. Brown takes the handoff and is stopped for a loss. Pushed back for a loss of 2 by Byron Braggs, number 73. It'll be 2nd and 12. It's update time as we check with the folks at NFL 82 in New York.
This is Mike Adamle in our NFL 82 studios in New York at Three Rivers Stadium. Terry Bradshaw has just connected on his 3rd touchdown pass of the day. This one of 4 yards to Greg Hawthorne, and now the Steelers lead the Chiefs 21-0. Gentlemen.
Clock winds down toward 9 minutes to play in the first half.
Bob, it appears that all the points are going to be scored at this end of the field.
If Buffalo cashes in, it would have been the case, at least so far. Bramer, the tight end, in motion. Curtis Brown gets another carry, gets outside, down near the 10-yard line. Mark Lee, 22, the left corner, shoves him out of bounds.
And you notice that both teams in this situation, Green Bay and Buffalo, have preferred to run to the right. That's where the grass is. Better footing than trying to run over here on this mud. Look at that. That is no fun to play in, basically because you can't play your game. And at this point in the season, both these teams 3-1. They certainly can be looking forward to playing 4 quarters in this kind of muck.
3rd down and let's say 4 yards to go for the first.
Good place for a screen pass if they've got it in, maybe even to the tight end.
Pacone right, Lewis left. Off the shotgun. Into the end zone for Lewis. Flag? Yes. Pass interference on the Packers. Mike McCoy had the coverage.
They're going to call it back, though. They're going to call it back because the guy had no chance to catch the football, I do believe. And it's a good call by the officials. One guy saw the contact. The other guy was watching the ball go over the receiver's head. The guy watching said, no chance to catch the football. They got it. I'll tell you, I don't agree with this call whatsoever. None. There was no chance for Lewis to catch the football. Zero. I disagree with that call. Packers got the short end of that one, Bob.
Ben Drive is the referee today.
Defense holding number 29. 5 yards and a first down. First down.
Disagree with that call.
The ball's going to be spotted just inside the 5-yard line. It's going to be 1st and goal for Buffalo. It's raining very hard now, almost as hard as it was at the beginning of the ball game. I told you earlier that Buffalo is second with regard to most penalties behind the Raiders. Packers have not frequently been flagged down, but they were hurt by that call. Looks like Curtis Brown, he's down near the 1-yard line. It's going to get to a point, especially for those who are busy today and getting several carries, where we will not be able to see their numbers at all. That was Brown on that carry.
Unfortunately, too, most football teams do not carry 2 sets of uniforms. So they will continue to get heavier and heavier and heavier throughout the day, shoes included. Look at that. Hard to get footing, hard to keep the ball dry. Although I must admit, both centers, McCarron and also Will Grant, are doing an excellent job of getting the ball to the quarterback.
2nd down, leaks. No signal. Packers say he isn't there. It's going to be 3rd down. 7 minutes and 40 seconds to play, 2nd quarter. After a first period completely dominated by the Packers, at least the Packer defense, Buffalo turning the ball over constantly. 4 turnovers, right, for Buffalo in the first quarter.
Bob, Buffalo is 4 for 4 in 3rd down conversions. Packers 1 for 4, as you see there.
And yet here are the Bills trailing only 6-0, despite giving the Packers every opportunity to open up a big lead. Curtis Brown. Buffalo says touchdown.
I think you go for it here. If I'm Chuck Knox, I go for it. There's 7:06 left in the 2nd quarter. If they don't make it, Green Bay, and they're going to run it, I'm sure of that, Green Bay is going to take over on about the 1-inch line. Good job of submarining penetration by the Green Bay Packers defensive line. Hard to tell. In amongst all those people is someone carrying the football. Let's watch once again. Oh, there's a solid hit by number 55, Rand Scott. 4th down, good choice by Chuck Knox. You see the distance.
Cribbs is in, and he gets the carry and bolts. Touchdown.
Green Bay doesn't realize it yet.
They will eventually.
Yes, they will.
So they held them 3 times on a series that began after the pass interference call inside the 5, but on the 4th down carry, Cribbs gets there. This game is tied, and Efren Herrera could put them in front.
Rather surprising. Cribbs comes in to score touchdowns. Yeah, he's over the line. The official is standing on the line. I believe it may be a bad camera angle, but that looked like a good call. Once again, great penetration by the defensive line of the Green Bay Packers. 52 in there to make part contact. George Cumby, but the officials rule he's in.
For Joe Cribbs, his first touchdown of the season. He didn't play, of course, the first 2 games before the strike. He was a holdout. Herrera's kick was deflected, but it still got through. The Packers blocked a Pat Leahy point-after-touchdown try and a Pat Leahy field goal try last week in New York against the Jets. They got a piece of this, but it's still...
The kick by Herrera. 22 was the man that was in there, Mark Lee, but I can't tell if he made contact. Nevertheless, it was good.
Garland Huckleby drops back deep in the middle of a 3-deep set here for the Packers as Herrera prepares to kick it off. Alan Clark across the 25 and out near the 30-yard line. Jim Richer, number 51, made the tackle. Now, Richer is an interesting story for Buffalo. He simply cannot crack that outstanding offensive line as a starter, and yet no offensive lineman received more awards in recent years than did Jim Richer when he was at North Carolina State.
Except maybe Dave Remington, but Nebraska, but sure. Remington has not shown up in the NFL yet. Look at there, 9:06 time elapsed. Reminder, last week Buffalo had the ball for 45 minutes out of the 60 minutes played on offense.
That's unbelievable. Even granted how inept the Colts have been, not once did they cross midfield. You figure a turnover, a good kick run back, a pass interference call, something's going to get you into Buffalo territory. Never crossed the 50 in the whole game. Here's Dickey. The pass complete to Lofton. Buffalo is contending that he trapped it.
Excellent catch. Excellent catch by Lofton. Good play fake up through the middle. Buffalo expecting Green Bay to run the ball. That's Kaufman coming at you. But Dickey really throws that one. Oh, I don't know, but it counted.
To tell from that
21 yards on the reception. Bob, this is going to bring up an interesting situation at halftime. Buffalo won the toss and elected to receive the ball. So that means Green Bay has the choice to begin the second half. I'm wondering if they'll choose to defend the end to our right as opposed to taking the ball. We'll see what happens.
You recall that last year, under adverse weather conditions, although in that case it was cold rather than rain in the AFC Championship game, here's a flag down, and the pass incomplete for Lofton. Let's wait and see what the call will be. But with the weather a factor in the AFC Championship game at Cincinnati, with the minus 59 wind chill, Forrest Gregg's decision upon winning the toss was to defend a goal rather than get the ball, and it proved to be a key part of the Bengal victory over the Chargers.
And not a lot of attention was paid to that decision. A lot of people thought he was foolish in putting the most.
68, offense, illegal motion, 68, decline the penalty, second down.
Greg Cook, 68 of the Packers.
Anyway, back to the decision by Forrest Gregg, who certainly spent a few years in that with a G on the side of his helmet. People thought he was foolish putting the ball in the hands of the most potent offense in the league. It turned out to be the best decision, and of course they embarrassed the San Diego Chargers 27-7, went to the Super Bowl.
Lofton out to the left and Jefferson out to the right. Gary Ellis, 31, is the lone setback. 2nd and 10 from the 49. The flip out to Lofton.
46 before Charles Romes runs him out. Not an ideal day for the likes of Lofton and Jefferson and Frank Lewis. Jerry Butler earlier, we thought that we saw him in the game, but that was a case of a number being obscured by all the mud which had accumulated.
Butler has made no appearance at all for Buffalo and evidently will not on a day like this.
Four-man front for Buffalo, Bob. 2 linebackers, 5 defensive backs. Is that 11? That's 11.
3rd down, 8. Dickey in trouble. Gets away and connects. The catch is made by Philip Epps, the rookie. Let's see where they put this down. It's very close to the stick. Oh, he's got it by plenty. He was pushed back. But where they're placing it now, he's got the first down by plenty.
Epps is an interesting story. He is a world-class sprinter out of Texas Christian, TCU. And because of the attention that I believe Jefferson and Lofton get, Epps has been overlooked. As Greg Cook
runs a 4.340, has been timed in 9.2 in the 100, finished 2nd last year in the NCAA's 200 meters outdoor event.
Bob, I was going to say, starting right tackle Greg Cook of the Green Bay Packers goes off the field with some sort of an injury. He's open.
Jefferson all alone is inside the 15-yard line. You Eugene Marv made the stop, but not nearly in time.
I tell you, it's got to be tough to be a defensive back. 22 yards on the pass and catch. A defensive back covering John Jefferson. You'll see him right in front of you. Goes inside, comes back outside, because he can beat you deep so easily. And the footing is no better down here than it was.
Eddie Lee Ivory carries. Down to about the 10-yard line of the Bills. Chris Keating, number 52, makes the stop for Buffalo. 3 minutes and 30 seconds to play in the first half. The Packers trail it 7-6, but threaten to reclaim the lead here. They put the ball down right at the 10-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Greg Cook is back in the ball game. Good. At his right tackle spot.
Looked like he slipped back there in the grass. I remind you that the Buffalo Bills have not allowed a touchdown in the last 10 consecutive quarters.
Gary Ellis.
Fumble.
Loose football. Still loose. Who's got it? Packers think they have a touchdown, and they do. Del Rogers, number 35, the rookie from Utah, came up with the ball after Ellis saw it squirt free.
You know, Bob, I'll tell you what, that ball traveled about 7 yards. Watch once again. Ellis on the carry. There he loses it. That ball travels almost 9 yards before Del Rogers can get his hands on it. There's Lofton with a chance. Rogers there to make the recovery. Touchdown, Green Bay, no matter how they got it.
Now, there are certain circumstances under which that would not have counted. A 4th down play or in the last 2 minutes of the ball game. But under these circumstances, and this one was blocked partially, and it got through. Just like the Herrera kick at the other end. I think Charles Rome's got a piece of that, number 26. But it got through there, 13-7 now. The Packers lead it with 2:54 to play in the first half. Time remaining in the first half. Robert Holt, who had a good return earlier, and Mike Mosley, who had a 66-yard run back a few weeks ago against Miami, are the 2 deep men. Ted McKnight, who had trouble with the first 2 kickoffs of the day, apparently has concluded his activity early for Buffalo. Here's Holt picking up the kick from Stenerud. Just across the 20-yard line, and that's all, with Cliff Lewis, 56, making the tackle.
That drive was 70 yards, 7 plays, 3 minutes and 29 seconds, and we believe that it does not count against the Buffalo Bills rushing touchdown record.
Time to take care of a little business. Bill McAtee, Byron Day, and anybody else who happens to be hanging around will be with you at halftime. NFL 82. And especially for those of you in the Chicago area, highlights of the Bears game with the Patriots. Joe Cribbs, who scored the touchdown a moment ago, carries for Buffalo on 1st down, and George Cumby makes the stop.
Wingo is down on the ground, too. We've now had, through almost 2 quarters, 7 fumbles, 2 interceptions, 1 muff on the kickoff return. That's Wingo down there. And for the records now, for you people in Buffalo, the touchdown that the Green Bay Packers just scored will go as a fumble recovered for a touchdown, not count against their defensive rushing record.
While I take a look at Rich Wingo, the clock is stopped. 2:32.
Free when you rent a compact or larger size car. And when you keep renting from National, we'll give you...
And he's replaced by Randy Scott, number 55, a second-year man from Alabama, at an inside linebacker spot for the Packers. Second and 7 from the Buffalo 25. Roosevelt leaks carries. This will leave them with 3rd down and a long 2. The injury is to Wingo's right knee, and obviously we have no definitive report beyond that, but as soon as we do, we'll get it to you. We mentioned at the beginning of the game that the weather conditions would be a factor. That was the all-time understatement. 13-7 Green Bay. It hasn't been pretty, but it has been. We're told that in Chicago, the Bears have added a safety and now lead the Patriots 16-0 late in the first half. In this game, we've had 7 fumbles, 2 interceptions, and a muffed kickoff. The turnovers, the Bills have been guilty of 4. The Packers have been guilty of 1. Stenerud missed a relatively short field goal. He connected, however, on his first 2 tries. On points after, both Herrera and Stenerud had their kicks partially blocked, and yet they each managed to clear the crossbar. So we've had a little bit of everything. Joe Cribbs on the delayed handoff. Skips past tacklers and has a Buffalo first down. George Cumby on the tackle.
You know, Bob, I make this comment. This may be what the NFL looks like over the next few weeks with bad weather and the Super Bowl playoff through the month of January. We as fans and observers of the NFL might see an awful lot of this kind of play over the next 6 weeks or so.
The idea of playing the conference championships at a neutral warm weather site is still alive. The odds are against it, but that has not been completely ruled out.
I hope it is ruled out. I don't think that's fair.
Cribbs again. Takes it outside. 40, 45, 46-yard line. Clock continues to move. 1:14 left.
And you saw Cribbs at the last moment expecting contact. Really put both hands over the ball. See, the nose man of the Green Bay Packers are going weak side. Cribbs has still got that speed to get outside. Now watch him cradle that ball in both arms, protecting against a fumble.
Timeout Buffalo. The Bills have 2 timeouts remaining. Announcement was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. The Packers off to a 3-1 start, and this comes after they concluded the 81 season by winning 6 of their last 8 to finish at 8-8. This is the best Packers start since they went 4-0 to begin the 1966 season, a year which concluded with a victory for them in Super Bowl I. Ferguson finds a target. Looks like Frank Lewis made the catch with John Anderson on the stop. It was Lewis, his second reception of the day.
Excellent pattern. Good protection by the Buffalo Bills offensive line. Ferguson had a chance to go to his 3rd receiver. Lewis was not the primary there. First down.
At the 36-yard line of the Packers. Clock running, 47 seconds. Picone left and Lewis right. Ferguson again with time. Here's Picone with the catch. He fumbled the ball but then fell on it. The Packers are arguing that it should be an incomplete pass, but the way it looked to me was reception, subsequent fumble, and a recovery by Picone.
You and the officials agree. Buffalo takes a timeout.
1 left for them.
And it'll be 1st and 10 at about the 18-yard line. These are just simple square-in routes by the receivers. You'll watch Picone, who is playing in place of Butler, catch the ball. Is that Harvey? Yes, Mo Harvey on the tackle. Ball on the ground. That's over the last couple of years. There's been as many plays go as receptions, and then in some officials, they rule that as an incompletion. Very, very inconsistent over the last couple of years.
Trump, you talked about the balance of the season being played to a large extent under weather conditions like this. Obviously not in all sites, but in a good part of the country. When you consider how much of the schedule was long staying home, who if they played a normal 16-game season would be in. So what do you think of that?
Yes.
Yes. World's shortest answer to the world's longest question. Ferguson. Hooks. He was open but overthrown. Roland Hooks, number 25.
I tell you what, there was great coverage by number 59. I believe Anderson of the Green Bay Packers had him all the way across the field. It was a simple little delay. It was John Anderson. And let's watch Bramer. Anderson there finally picks up the running back. But Bramer is the 3rd receiver there. Ferguson, his mind is looking he is looking only at Roland Hooks. Incomplete pass. 2nd and 10.
The ball at the Packer 18. Green Bay leads at 13-7. 33 seconds remaining. The Bills have 1 timeout left.
2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, 1 running back. Joe Cribbs.
Both wide receivers, Picone and Lewis, are on the left side. The flip to Cribbs. 15.
Get outside.
10.
Oh.
Close to a first down. They'll have to use a timeout, though.
Probably should have taken it out of bounds. In the last 2 minutes of a game or a half, you don't try to struggle for inches. You try to save seconds. They made a mental error there.
Not using a timeout. Inside 10 seconds. 6 as they snap it. Out of bounds to stop it with 5.
Well, now they got to kick it, I believe. Yep, Joe Cribbs cost them a play.
On the other hand, Trump.
No, there is no other hand.
Supposing you call a timeout immediately after Cribbs is tackled, and then give yourself 1 play and throw it into the end zone. Either you get the touchdown or it drops incomplete, and then you set up for the field goal.
Okay, but your 2-minute offense has meant that every chance a receiver or a running back has to get out of bounds, you do so. That was a swing pass out to the sideline. The intent of the Buffalo Bills coaches was to have Joe Cribbs get out of bounds. Stop that. They come back with about 11 or 12 seconds left. They can get 2 plays off, with one of them being a pass and an incompletion. You've still got time to get Herrera on. He cost them a play.
From the 16, Matt Robinson will hold. Herrera will kick. Little trouble with the spot. It's blocked. Robinson did not get it down cleanly. The first half ends with the Packs still clinging to that 13-7 lead. Let's see if the replay shows us who blocked it.
Watch Robinson. Has trouble getting his hands on the ball and getting it down. Then Herrera has no choice.
That's Gary Lewis, 81, who blocked it.
Joe Cribbs cost him there.
First half is history, 13-7. The Pack leads it. Harlan Huckleby, number 25, is the deep man in their 3-deep set. He's flanked by Johnny Gray, 24, and Alan Clark, 34. Before Herrera kicks it off, we'll tell you quickly something you already know. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Green Bay Packers and the National Football League is prohibited.
Now, if we can get somebody to say, "Hi, Mom," this football game is official, right?
Hi, Mom. Buffalo leads in the 2 regular season meetings 2-0 between the Bills and the Packers.
Comment about Efren Herrera. For the years that he played in the Seattle Kingdom, this has got to be very, very foreign to Mr. Herrera. Wouldn't you agree? On this kind of quagmire out here trying to kick as best he can. He's having trouble even putting it up on the tee.
Not only the sloppy conditions, but as you know, kicking in a dome, the ball carries better. You're going to have guys kicking 50, 52-yarders in a dome stadium that they would not make outside. Herrera is the most accurate field goal kicker in NFL history. Not just the most accurate active kicker, but the most active in the history of the league. He's made 110 of 160. Somebody's going to have to come over and hold this for him eventually.
Looks like Rubik's Cube out there.
Of all field goal kickers who have made 100 or more in their career, nobody has a higher percentage than this guy.
He's also thrown for a touchdown, run for a touchdown, caught a touchdown.
He did wild things in Seattle out of field goal formation. The thought is they had some money problems with him. Let him go. Buffalo picked him up. Alan Clark on the return for Green Bay, and he's out near the 40-yard line for the Packers. Jeff Nixon, number 38, makes the tackle.
We'll watch Rod Cush of the Buffalo Bills, number 42, one of the real headhunters, one of the great special teams players of the Bills. He makes contact here on the tackle, makes initial contact on the tackle. Good job, 1st and 10. Where are they? 39-yard line?
Glenn Dickey was 7 for 12 for 83 yards and had 1 intercepted in the first half.
Busted play all the way. That's not the way you want to start a half of a football game. Somebody messed up somewhere. It appeared that the ball was snapped early by McCarron on the center. Dickey just keeping his hands on it. Ivory and Ellis still the running backs.
Lofton, Jefferson, and Kaufman are the targets for Dickey, who came into the game completing 65% of his passes, 7 touchdowns. Now with his first period interception, 4 interceptions for the year. And there's his offensive line. Del Rogers, 35, alternates with Eddie Lee Ivory, bringing the plays in from the bench. So Rogers is in on this play along with Gary Ellis. And the give is to Ellis, who's immediately pushed back by Fred Smerlas. They'll have 3rd and 10.
1/3 of the Bermuda Triangle there, Fred Smerlas. Outstanding player.
And the only third that remains, since Haslett and Nelson are sidelined by injuries and replaced by Marv and Keating in the middle. Clark, Romes, Freeman, and Simpson. Simpson celebrating his 31st birthday today for Buffalo.
Happy birthday, Bill.
Question. Who has intercepted more passes in playoff competition than anybody in NFL history? Come on, Trump, it's easy. Dickey drops. Wants to throw long. Settles for a medium pattern over the middle, and the completion of the 45 of Buffalo on a first down. Jefferson came back to the ball and made the catch. Dickey was looking for Lofton, I think, initially, then pulled it back and spotted Jefferson for 16.
Good protection by the Pack offensive line. This is drilled in there by Lynn Dickey. And as you said, Jefferson came back for the ball, which is the most important thing a receiver can do, and he protects the ball, gets himself between the ball and the defensive back. Bill Simpson on the tackle. Is he the guy?
He's the answer to the question. Tied with Charlie Waters of Dallas. They each have 9 postseason interceptions, which is the NFL record.
That strikes me as strange because Buffalo has never played in a Super Bowl. Dallas, of course, has.
Simpson was with the Rams, though.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I forgot about his time with the Rams.
Del Rogers, who scored his first NFL touchdown in the first half. Second down and 10 from the 43-yard line. 12 minutes and 12 seconds to play in the third quarter. Packers lead at 13-7. Eddie Lee Ivory. Not much. Fred Smerlas was there first.
Buffalo does an outstanding job of pursuing along the line of scrimmage, and one of the designs of the 34 defense, as we'll watch Marv, he comes up through, takes out one of the blockers. If you can hold the line of scrimmage as a defensive player, a defensive lineman, then the linebackers can pursue down the line and you hold your opponent to very few yards. Good job there by Smerlas. You see Ben Williams, number 77, in there. A lot of people there to make the tackle. Third down and 8. Big possession down here.
Lofton to the left, Jefferson to the right. Ellis is the lone running back. They give it to him on a draw, and he's got a first down.
You know, I have a feeling here that Green Bay kind of lulled Buffalo to sleep. Ellis was up in a 2-point stance. He was not down in his stance, and I think Buffalo felt that they were going to throw the ball, and therefore kind of fooled him a little bit. Here's Fred Smerlas on the defensive line of scrimmage. You see the 4-man rush. McCarron does a good job of just pushing him the way he wants to go, and Ellis up through there.
In praising Bob Schnelker, the offensive coordinator for the Packers, Lynn Dickey has said that the plays have been mixed up much better this year. Mixed up as in shuffling them around and confusing the defense rather than the offense mixing them up themselves. But that in the past he felt the Packers might have been a bit too predictable. Now they'll go with a draw play in a situation like that. They'll throw a pass in what appears to be an obvious running situation.
I'll tell you the thing that helps most, Bob, though, is if you can get good yardage on first down, 2nd and 3, 4, 2, 1, something like that, you really have the defense at a disadvantage. They don't know what's coming, so they've gotten good first down yardage. Reverse.
Here's the reverse, and here comes Lofton. This worked for a touchdown against the Giants. 15, 10, first and goal.
No flags. Doesn't he have the longest run from scrimmage in the NFL this year? 83 yards and a touchdown against the Giants. The game before, the Monday night game before the strike, and here you'll see it from beginning to end. Handed off by Ivory to Lofton. Dickey even gets part of a block. Great speed. 27-foot long jumper. 30 yards on the carry by Lofton. Biggest play of the day by either team.
Well, you were making the point about how you need good first down yardage in order to mix things up. They didn't get good first down yardage. They faced 2nd and 9, so they came back with a surprise call on the reverse and got 30. Eddie Lee Ivory bounces off the initial contact and nudges to perhaps the 2-yard line.
Worth repeating, the Bills have not allowed a rushing touchdown in 24 quarters. The touchdown scored by the Green Bay Packers in the first half goes as a fumble recovery in the end zone for a touchdown.
Both these teams have been especially stingy on defense in the second half. Buffalo has not allowed a second-half touchdown in the regular season dating back to the 12th game of last year when New England scored against them.
This season, they've allowed a grand total of 3 points. That's certainly in jeopardy.
Eddie Lee Ivory is close but not there. So in their last 8 regular season games, the Bills have not allowed a touchdown in the second half. They were scored upon in the second half in playoff games last year against the Jets and the Bengals.
And let's give credit where credit is due. Even though Hazlitt and Shane Nelson are out, Keating, Irvin Parker, Eugene Marr, Isaiah Robertson, Ben Williams, Smerlis, Sherman White, and at times Darrell Irvin as the 4th defensive lineman have done an outstanding job. Great strength up there on that front.
3rd and goal at the 1. Ellis and Ivory are the backs. John Thompson, 87 in. Extra tight end. Eddie Lee Ivory for the touchdown. So that streak for Buffalo is snapped.
Still pretty impressive. First rushing touchdown allowed in 24 quarters. The last 24 regular season quarters.
For Eddie Lee Ivory, it's his 5th rushing touchdown of the year and his 6th touchdown overall.
Right down there at the line of scrimmage. Excellent job by number 57 of the Packers, Darrell Goforth. He got through there and got contact on a linebacker, and that linebacker wasn't there to stand Eddie Lee Ivory up. From the end zone. Good job by that offensive line. 6 points.
Back live, the PAT. Stakowitz holds. Stenerud kicks. It's good, and the clock stops with 8 minutes and 39 seconds to play, 3rd quarter. They went 60 yards in 11. This 1982 National Football League game is brought to you by the new Chrysler Corporation. Quality engineered to be the best. By the U.S. Army, a place to be all you can be. And by Seiko and your authorized Seiko dealers, who remind you that people trust Seiko more than any other watch. And if I had checked my Seiko more carefully, I would have realized that it was 6 minutes and 21 seconds as the time of possession rather than 5:21 for the Packers after they took the opening kickoff of the second half. They lengthened their lead to 20-7. Holt finds the handle across the 20, out near the 30. Well, we were back with you for the briefest of times, and we promised that we are returning right after this. Pittsburgh's lead over Kansas City, we're told, is 28-7 at Pittsburgh late in the first half. Their last touchdown, a 1-yard run by Franco Harris, the 92nd touchdown for Franco in his career. Terry Bradshaw is in at quarterback in that game and has thrown 3 touchdown passes, 2 to John Stallworth, 1 to Greg Hawthorne in the first half. Joe Cribbs wearing a fresh uniform here at the start of the second half. Gets about 5 on first down before Mike Butler makes the stop at the 35. Trump?
Bob, I do believe that puts Franco Harris second to Jim Brown in touchdowns for a career. 92. Jim Brown had 106 through his career. Not bad for a guy who didn't get as much attention as the other guy in the backfield when he was drafted out of college. Slidell Mitchell was the big gun. Franco Harris was the blocking mate. He's certainly gone on to surprise a lot of people.
It'll probably take Franco a couple more seasons, realistically, to pass Jimmy Brown. If he can and decides to stay around that long. Here's Cribbs. He's got a first down for Buffalo. Cumbie on the stop.
Good man to feature in the second half. He can hang on to the football. Very, very breakaway threat. Butler, Jones, Johnson up front for the Green Bay Packers.
Wingo hurt. Cumbie, number 52, made the stop on the last play. Randy Scott, number 55, has come in to replace Wingo. Lee and McCoy are the corners, and Gray and Harvey. Harvey with a fumble recovery and interception in the first half for the safeties. Cribbs again, his 3rd straight carry. He's into Green Bay territory. He's got a first down at the 46 before Maurice Harvey stops him. Now the rain has all but stopped. It's just a faint drizzle now as opposed to the downpour earlier.
14 yards on the carry. You see the trap up front. And good job on the trap by the Buffalo Bills offensive line. Cribbs is certainly a breakaway threat. I'm very, very impressed that He's now carried the ball 10 times for 55 yards in his first week of play in this resumed season. Carried the ball 21 times 2 weeks ago. Had no problems whatsoever.
Roosevelt Leaks has problems on this carry. Stopped virtually at the line of scrimmage. Watch Randy Scott, who replaced the injured Rich Wingo in the first half. Number 55, Scott, in on the stop.
This defense ranked second coming into this game in rushing defense. He takes on, is that, I can't tell by the number. I think it's Borchard hit him right in the stomach and stacked up the play. Good job by Mr. Scott.
2nd and 10 from just outside the 45 of the pack. They did some repair work on the infield section here at County Stadium. So if the rain holds off or stays just about like it is now, the conditions will be far more playable in the second half than they were in the first. Cribbs couldn't hold it.
That was a catchable football. And he had 2 men out in front of him, Reggie McKenzie and Mark Bramer, and also the center, Will Grant. He could have gone a pretty good distance, but just slightly overthrown. Tough to hang on to.
5 minutes, 41 seconds to play, third quarter. 27. Green Bay leads it.
Three wide receivers, Bacone, Frank Lewis, and the Bills' #1 draft choice, Perry Tuttle out of Clemson, now in the ball game.
Interesting trivia note that the Bills have 2 first-round wide receivers out of Clemson on their roster. This is Tuttle, the man we were talking about, who makes the catch. Ball came loose, but evidently it's a completion and Buffalo ball. Inside the 35 of the pack, Estes Hood on the coverage.
Inside receiver in this set with Lewis on the outside, 11 yards on the catch. Good protection, plenty of time for Ferguson to look around, recognize the defense, wait for Tuttle to get open, and then throw between zone coverage. Estes Hood, the 5th defensive back in there. Good first down.
Buffalo had great success taking Jerry Butler in the first round. A few years ago, he was the 2nd of 2 first-round picks that year. Tom Cousineau was the 1st. So they go back to the same formula this year and take Perry Tuttle out of Clemson in the first round.
Yeah, there's a direct link between the Green Bay Packers and the Buffalo Bills, too, in an odd way. I'll give that to you after this play.
1st and 10 from the 33. Here's Cribbs, who's been known to throw off of this. Gets maybe a couple of yards, perhaps less than that on first down. Randy Scott, 55, again with the stop.
Doing a great job. The link between these two franchises on successive years, each lost a player to the Canadian Football League. Buffalo, Cousineau went to Montreal, and for Green Bay, Bruce Clark also went to Montreal. Cousineau now in Cleveland, and Clark in New Orleans, both playing very, very well. And because of that, next year in a very, very deep draft, Bob, both have 2 first-round draft choices.
Having the Saints' first-round draft choice look better at the beginning of the year than it looks now, with New Orleans off to a 3-1 start. Might not be as high a pick as it originally looked to be. Roosevelt Leaks makes the catch out of the backfield. He's to about the 25-yard line. This will leave him with 3rd down and let's say 2.
Take a look where it's hot and heavy in there. Terry Jones, the nose man. On Will Grant, the center. You see him try to get around. It's good game up front. Ezra Johnson, number 90, probably at 250 pounds, the fastest man at that size as you can find in the NFL, Bob. He has, on several occasions, run a 4.5 Can you imagine that as a defensive end? If he wants to beat you up, you can't beat him up, and you can't outrun him. What do? Make friends.
3rd and 2 at the 25. Exactly 4 minutes to play, third quarter. Buffalo trails by 13, but they're driving. Cribbs, first down. Randy Scott and Mike Douglas wrap him up, but too late.
Most important thing, I think, for Buffalo and for Joe Cribbs is that he is hanging on to the football. In the first half, unreliable. Second half, doing a lot better job. I have a feeling his ears may be stinging a little bit. Chuck Knox is known to go in at halftime and read the riot act to those that deserve it.
We mentioned earlier about Bart Starr's comments that he has become a better coach with the years. But if that's true, he's a rarity in that he was allowed the time to become a better coach. Usually you don't get 6-7 years to get it down pat. Normally, if a guy has the potential to develop into a good head coach, he's not going to get more than 2 or 3 years to prove it before he gets fired.
I'll tell you another thing that Bart Starr has admitted. He admitted in the offseason last December there were a great many questions as to whether or not he would return. In the press, he was given a new 2-year contract, and he said, and this is his own admission, that had he been anybody else, he probably would have not gotten the time. But because he was the legend under Lombardi at quarterback, that he was given the time. And one thing about an administrator or a head coach, if he has a weakness, hiring the right man to take care of that weakness is probably the smart thing to do. And in Bart's case, he hires Bob Schnelker, and their offense all of a sudden is one of the most dominating there is in the NFL.
I don't think there's any doubt that if his name was John Smith, he would have been fired long ago. But in the meantime, things may be coming together here. They win 6 of 8 to close last season. They're 3-1 now. Leaks juggles it and drops it. It'll be 3rd down 9.
That's 2 that should have been caught. San Diego over Cleveland 27-3. The bad weather in Cleveland has not stopped the Chargers.
Chuck Muncie has 2 touchdown runs, and so does James Brooks for San Diego. Miami's lead in the 3rd is 12-7 over Minnesota. Houston leads the Giants in the 2nd quarter at the Meadowlands 7-3. The Cardinals. How about the Cardinals?
What's happened to Philadelphia?
23-7. Philadelphia came in at 1-3. The Cardinals could go to 3-2 if they hold on to win that one.
4 wide receivers. Buffalo is now 7 of 9 in 3rd down conversions. This is their biggest of the day. Blitz.
He gets rid of it. They do not have the 1st down.
Green Bay came with the weak safety blitz. Holt on the reception, but not enough for the 1st down. Green Bay going all out to try to get to that shotgun formation by the Buffalo Bills. Now it's tough. They're going to put that ball down in one of the worst spots on the field. Robinson to hold. Herrera to kick.
They needed to go to just inside the 12, and they wind up at the 15.
Would this be a place for something tricky? Look at that. Look at that. Put the ball on a tee.
Herrera is 2 of 4 on his field goal attempts since replacing Nick Mickemeyer as the kicker for the Bills. 33-yarder. Robinson gets it down. Herrera misses wide left. So the most accurate field goal kicker in NFL history has hit just 40% this year, although the weather conditions today undoubtedly have contributed to his 0 for 2.
This is the kick snapper. Watch this. High to Robinson. He gets it down. The ball is out just a little bit. You see there, it's not straight up and down. And I believe it hits a little long on Herrera's foot, and it does appear that number 81 for the Packers.
Gary Lewis again.
Gary Lewis got his hand on the football.
If he did, he just barely grazed it. I'd like to see that again. Lofton with the catch, and he's out to about the 26 for 6 yards on 1st down. Irvin Parker makes the stop, number 62. Check it. It's Eddie Lee Ivory out of the backfield on the catch. My mistake. (20-7) Green Bay. The clock is running. 1:25 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Let's pause briefly for station identification on the NBC television network.
WEAU TV 13, Eau Claire.
Jefferson to the left, Lofton to the right. Ivory and Rogers are the backs, and Del Rogers carries on 2nd down. There's a flag on the play.
Great job by Smurlus, too. He submarine underneath the center was there just as Rogers got the ball. Let's see what the penalty is. Offsides Buffalo. 2nd most penalized team in the NFL.
Although we haven't had that many penalties against either club today.
Agreed.
Defense encroachment. The line up over the ball. Defensive line up over the ball. 1st down.
I bet that's Fred Smurlus. He does really cheat to the point of the football.
Buffalo has been penalized twice today for 37 backward yards. Just 1 penalty against Green Bay. It cost them 5. At Chicago, the Bear lead early in the 3rd quarter is now 23-13 over New England. It was 23-0 at one time. Eddie Lee Ivory. still on his feet. No whistle. He would have been better off going down all at once. Flag is down on the play. We'll sort it out when we come back after this update in New York.
This is Len Berman in 82 in New York, and Bob Costas, the Bears scorer you just mentioned. Here's how it happened. McMahon throwing, intercepted by Rick Sanford of the Patriots. Kenneth Sims throws a block there, coast to coast, 99 yards on the interception. The Patriots close to within 23-13 of the Bears. Let's go back to you, Bob Costas.
Thank you, Len Berman. We've got 57 seconds to play here in the third quarter. It's begun to pour again at County Stadium in Milwaukee. The penalty is against Buffalo. Bad break for the Bills because they'd stopped Ivory for a loss on the play. And here's Ben Drive.
Bench number 62, 5-yard penalty, grabbing the face mask.
Irvin Parker, and that's an inadvertent grabbing of the face mask. Nothing is going right for the Bills. They have him stopped for no gain behind the line of scrimmage, and they end up getting a first down on a 5-yard penalty. Mama said there'd be days like this, and it's starting to rain again.
And it's no drizzle either, pal.
They have flood warnings out for the Green Bay or for the Milwaukee area today.
Ellis is the lone setback, number 31. Dickey's pass finds Jefferson, first down at the 46.
Rome's on the coverage, and once again, I am very, very impressed with the ability of the Green Bay Packers receivers and running backs to, by and large, hang on to the football. If Buffalo had caught the ball like this in their last drive, both Cribbs and Leaks, I think they'd have gotten points on the scoreboard. Jefferson still with the gloves, able to hang on to the football, first down. Now 3 catches for 55 yards for Jefferson. Lofton has 3 for 36, and Hoffman, their tight end, has not caught 1, and last week he caught 8.
This will be the last play of the third quarter as Eddie Lee Ivory picks up 2, maybe 3. Spun down by Irvin Parker. So the Pack adds a touchdown to their 13-7 halftime lead, and with 15 minutes remaining at County Stadium in Milwaukee, the target, Bill Simpson, 45, swatted it down.
And am I correct that neither team has a sack?
I think you're right.
There has not been a punt. Look at Fred Smerlas here. He is absolutely cheating as far as he can. His head is not supposed to be over that ball, but he's as close as you can get. And he gets by McCarron in quick order and almost gets to Dickey. Dickey has the presence of mind to step up. But third down and 8.
Our statistician Steve Dans confirms no sacks for either club today. Dickey needs 8. He's got it to Lofton. First down inside the 35. Mario Clark arrived late.
Great point to make here, I believe. You'll notice 14 yards on the catch. You'll notice Lofton made no attempt whatsoever to run with the football. He ran the pattern deep enough to get the first down, then concentrated on one thing alone, catching the ball and hang on to it. Watch, he's dead. He's stopped when he makes the catch. He doesn't care if he's tackled or not. He's got a first down. Very smart by the Green Bay Packer receivers.
James Lofton, the subject of a feature story in Sports Illustrated this week.
That was a nice story, too. His wife apparently deserves a great deal of credit for his success.
Del Rogers carries, and Rogers does a little dance to close to first down yardage.
Lots of knees and elbows coming through that line of scrimmage when Del Rogers carries the ball. Now 3 carries, 23 yards. He goes out. Eddie Lee Ivory back in with a play from Bob Schnelker on the sideline. Throw all these guys in a biz bag when this one's over.
13:47 remaining in the ball game. But Buffalo is going to look back on the missed opportunities as they take the time to measure here. At least they could have salvaged field goals, in which case they'd be within a touchdown now at 20-13, and as the conditions worsen, it becomes less and less likely that you're going to come back.
It'll be second down in just a little bit. Who's Buffalo play next week?
Well, we'll have to check the schedule. Green Bay is at Green Bay, their only home game of the regular season, their only game in Green Bay of the regular season. That's against the Lions.
Buffalo.
Pittsburgh is next for Buffalo.
In Buffalo. Promises to be another bad weather weekend. Imagine when the season is over, Buffalo will have its fill of bad weather weekends to play football.
The Packers have already created an indoor training site because of the bad weather in this area. And Buffalo is thinking about the same thing. It's tough to get the work in during the week when the weather acts up. Ellis trying to get outside.
I'll tell you another thing about the Green Bay Packers. You know, in an odd sort of way, the football strike may help the Green Bay Packers a great deal in that Dickey, throughout his career in 12 years, has only managed to finish one complete season. That was in 1980. He is the leading quarterback in the NFL to this point in the season, and if they can keep him healthy and without 8 weeks of bumps and bruises, Dickey might carry this team to the playoffs, which would be the first time since 1972 and that the Packers have been to the playoffs, which seems to me just so hard to believe. The tradition of the Green Bay Packers is in the playoffs every single year. 72 was the last time they were there.
Third down and less than a yard. They fake it and go deep. This is the Bart Starr play of old, and a touchdown to John Thompson. Well, Snelker may have called it, but you know that Bart Starr approved of it. That was his trademark when he quarterbacked this club during the Lombardi glory era.
I got news for you. That's Thompson's first reception, therefore his first touchdown. Excellent fake by Dickey. The Bills did not have a chance. Not even close to the coverage. Now that mud really gets heavy. Once again, the good fake carried out by Eddie Lee Ivory. 6 points. Very nice indeed. And as I said, now the mud on the bottom of the shoes of the Buffalo Bills really gets heavy.
Reserve tight end John Thompson in his third NFL season out of Utah State. Stenerud out of the hole to Stakowicz. It's good. All Stakowicz has done all day is hold. The NFL game is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car in the world, by the calling card from Bell for calling when you're away from your home or office, and by Atari, the leader in home video games, for fun your whole family can share. The Packers had the ball for 10 plays. They covered 80 yards after taking over at the 20 following a missed field goal attempt by Efren Herrera. They had the ball for 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Their lead goes to 27-7. 12:20 remaining in the game. Robert Holt on the kick return across the 25. Time to take care of a bit more business. We'll return to County Stadium in Milwaukee right after these messages. Gobbled up the Bills so far today, 27-7 with 12:15 left. The line on Ferguson, he's 7 of 13 for 84 net yards. He's had 1 intercepted. Dickey is 12 of 18 for 157. He has a touchdown, and he's also had 1 picked off. The touchdown throw for Dickey was his 8th of the year. Ferguson to the sideline. His first down pass is complete to Roosevelt Leaks. Johnny Gray was in on the stop. It's a pickup of 5 on first down. 2nd and 5 upcoming. Barring a miracle comeback, the Bills will be 3-2 with the Steelers coming into Buffalo next week. The Packers will be 4-1 with a game in Green Bay next week against the Lions. Overthrown and intercepted. Picked off by Mark Lee. Lee might go all the way. One man's got a crack at him. Out of bounds he goes at the 15-yard line. A 40-yard return on the interception by Lee, and this game is just about history. 11:55 left. The Packers lead by 20. They're knocking on the cornerback. Mark Lee was his first of the year. Sets the Pack up 1st and 10 at the Buffalo 15. Buffalo has been held scoreless since halftime when they trailed 13-7. Dickey sends Jefferson left and Lofton right. Eddie Lee Ivory carries on first down. Short gain, perhaps a yard. Fred Smerlis hit him. Ivory departs, and Del Rogers, number 35, brings in a play from Bob Schnelker on the Packers sideline for Lynn Dickey. This time it's Lofton to the left side and Jefferson to the right. On second down and 9. Dickey to the air, trying to add to that lead. Lofton fell down, and the pass falls incomplete. Some of the Packer fans hollering for a pass interference call. Charles Romes was there on the coverage. Watch it from ground level. Bob Trumpy is having a little bit of difficulty with his microphone, and as soon as we can have that repaired, he will rejoin us. And clearly it bounced into the lap of Lofton, who tried to fake the catch. Third down 9 coming up. Clock is stopped with 11:06 to play in the fourth quarter. Both Jefferson and Lofton go out to the right side. Jim Jensen, number 33, is in the backfield for this play, along with Eddie Lee Ivory. Over the middle, broken up at the last minute. Good defensive play by Charles Romes. For a split second, John Jefferson thought he had 6. Congratulates Romes on the play. Well, that turnover didn't cost the Bills much in terms of time. Less than a minute of possession for the Packers. But if Stenerud can hit on this field goal, it's completely over, if it isn't already. As it is now, Buffalo would need to score 3 times. This could make it 30-7. It's about a 32-yard attempt. It's good. Stenerud has the hat trick with his 3rd field goal of the day. 10 minutes and 57 seconds to play in the ball game. The Packers. Stenerud with yet another kickoff. Holt and Mosley are the deep man. Here's Holt fielding it just inside the 10. Stopped by Guy Prather on the play. And he's at about the 27-yard line. Down to 10:49 remaining. The Packers faced a 23-point deficit in their opener against the Rams and wound up winning the ball game 35-23, as I recall. However, they had much more time than Buffalo has to work with here. Ferguson pumps once, airs one out long, wants Lewis, broken up. Mark Lee, who made the interception moments ago, slapped this one down. Bob, I don't hear you. Bob Trumpy is asking whether or not I hear him. I don't hear you. Maybe the folks across America do. I don't know. Trump, let me stop you right here. I don't want you to waste any breath. They tell us in the truck, nobody can hear you. Like a coffee regular, please. Maybe a bratwurst if you could bring it back. Make yourself useful. 10:42 remaining. 2nd and 10 from the Buffalo 27. Incomplete. 3rd down coming up. Mark Bramer, the tight end, was the target. Scores of other games around the NFL. San Diego continues to lead Cleveland. 27-13. They're in the 3rd. Miami lengthens their lead to 12 points over Minnesota in the 4th. Houston leading the Giants at the Meadowlands 14-3. Cardinals now in the fourth quarter with that lead over puzzling Philadelphia, which could be 1-4 at day's end. New Orleans began the day at 3-1. Tampa Bay was 1-3. The Bucs have the lead in the fourth in what looks like a good ball game. New England has made it a game after trailing 23-0. They're within 23-13 at Chicago. Ferguson's target, Lewis, fell down on the sloppy turf. Mike McCoy had the coverage. It's fourth down, and this will be the first punt of the game for either team as Greg Cater, number 7, you can tell him by his clean uniform, comes in. Ferguson's numbers, he's 8 for 18, 89 yards. He's had a couple picked off. Suffered through a 5-interception game in their only loss prior to today, a 9-7 defeat against Miami. The key thing about Cater is not his average, it's his net. The average is 39.2, but his net is 38.8, so virtually none of his kicks are returned. This is no exception, a fair catch at the 31-yard line. A 42-yard punt, a fair catch by Philip Epps. Packers get the ball back at their 32-yard line. There's the time remaining.
Mr. Costas, I think I'm back with your order, sir.
You have returned.
That's, what did you want? One brat with mustard?
One brat with mustard?
Yes, sir.
Coffee regular. Here it is. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. And please.
You've done a fine job. Now they've fixed your microphone. Here's Ellis taking the swing pass from Dickey. And he rambles close to midfield for a first down. The Packers have scored 30 and driving for more against a Buffalo team which had yielded but 40 in 4 games prior to today.
They have really made a shambles of this defense. Ellis here with a good job. They even have replacements in for the Packers on offense and still doing a great job. Out in front, Ron Hallstrom, their first-round draft pick there in front of Gary Ellis, does an excellent job on the little swing pass. Big first down.
Hallstrom, the rookie from Iowa, hasn't played very much prior to today. This is a good opportunity to give him some work with the comfortable lead.
Reverse.
They drop it this time. Looks like Buffalo's got it. Lofton unhappy with himself. It worked for a 30-yard gain earlier today. It worked for an 83-yard touchdown against the Giants earlier in the season. This time a fumble, which was recovered by Eugene Marv, number 54.
It slipped out of Gary Ellis's hand. You got to blame it on Gary Ellis. He had it in one hand, and he just couldn't hang on to it.
You are correct.
To make the recovery. Turnovers now Buffalo 5, Green Bay 2, and it's really been the story of the game because Green Bay has gained 260 yards total offense on the day. Buffalo 233. But those turnovers, that's the thing that's killed Buffalo today.
Lofton acted as if he were angry with himself, but clearly that could not be blamed on him. Buffalo perhaps would retain some wild hopes if they could score quickly here. What's fast becoming a New Year's tradition on NBC Sports, a lineup of college football that will, it says here, pardon the pun, bowl you over. It starts at 1:30 Eastern Time with the Fiesta Bowl, Oklahoma, and their sensational freshman Marcus Dupree against the rugged defense of Arizona State. Then it's the Rose Bowl, Michigan looking to avenge an early season loss to UCLA, and finally the Orange Bowl pits Big 8 power Nebraska against the Tigers of LSU, all New Year's Day and night on NBC Sports. First and 10 at the 34 of the Pack. Roosevelt leaks, drilled after making the catch. Johnny Gray and Mike McCoy were over there.
Ferguson now on the day 10 of 19. ...102 yards. And as you can imagine, Green Bay now just simply protecting against the touchdown. There's no way in the world they're going to let anybody get behind them. They'll give them all those flat passes that Buffalo wants to take, and Leaks have trouble hanging on to that football. Good tackle by Johnny Gray, the strong safety.
2nd and 7 at the 31. Delayed handoff to Cribbs. Nothing. Maybe a loss of a yard. Randy Scott, distinguishing himself in place of the injured Rich Wingo, makes the tackle.
And Bob, I'll make this comment. If Bart Starr is in the habit of giving out game balls, Mr. Scott's got to get one. When Wingo goes out against a very, very staunch offense like Buffalo, I'm sure everybody on the sideline said, uh-oh, but he has done an outstanding job in replacing Rich Wingo, and we still don't know how severe that knee injury is for Mr. Wingo. Obviously, must be something serious. He has not returned.
They ought to send a game ball to the Weather Bureau because the conditions have hampered Buffalo far more than they have Green Bay. Ferguson out of the shotgun. Throw is a bit too low to be handled. Cribbs was the target. Mike Douglas had the coverage.
10 of 21 now for Joe Ferguson. Got to be a little upset with his his receivers for not catching the ball in crucial situations, and two, he's missed some receivers that have been open. He's had good time to throw the ball.
They face 4th down 7 at the 31-yard line of the Packers. Complete, but short of the first down. John Anderson made the tackle, which stopped them short. Mark Kramer makes the reception, but the ball goes over on downs to the Pack.
Single coverage, linebacker on tight end. Anderson, obviously with pretty good speed, was able to keep up with Kramer on the sideline.
Joe Ferguson, in 2 earlier games against the Packers, had completed 68% of his passes. But today, an entirely different story.
Look at there. We've been talking about the Buffalo Bills defense all day. That's a pretty important graphic. No points in the 4th quarter. That's when you win.
Eddie Lee Ivory carries on first down and fumbles the ball, and Buffalo has it right back at the 25. Smirlis with the recovery.
Lucius Sanford on the hit, number 57. Hit the ball carrier right in the chest. This is a great play by Lucius Sanford. Ivory on the carry, cuts inside. There's Lucius Sanford right there. Fights off the guard's block, stands him straight up. Ball is loose. And Buffalo's got it back.
There's a Buffalo player shaken up on the play, and with the crowd around him and with the mud covering the uniforms, it's hard to tell who it is. There's the turnover situation.
There's Sanford. That was a great, great play.
Eugene Marv is the player who's hurt.
Sanford was taking the place of Isaiah Robertson there, I do believe, on that defense. Yes, you're right. Marv is up.
Marv, the rookie from Saginaw Valley State, has played a pretty good game today, an inside linebacker for Buffalo.
Not one of your football factories, Saginaw State.
Next Sunday, it's doubleheader football action on NBC. The Battle of Ohio features the Browns visiting Ken Anderson and defending AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals. And then many of you will see the Steelers go against the Bills as Buffalo will be back home against Pittsburgh. Here's Ferguson on first down, and it drops incomplete at the feet of Roosevelt Leaks. Now, here are the late games next week, beginning at 4 Eastern Time. The Raiders and the Chiefs and the Broncos and the Rams. It all begins at 12:30 Eastern Time with NFL 82, right here on the home of the Super Bowl, NBC Sports.
Sorry, Bob, didn't mean to talk over you there, but Joe Ferguson obviously very, very upset with that pass. And maybe hands on hips and kind of wondering what's going on is the best indication of his day. He's now 11 of 23 for 128 yards, and he's underthrown, overthrown, and also had some drop passes all day long.
Ferguson began the day having completed just under 51% of his passes for the year with 5 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. No TD passes today. He's had 2 picked off.
Frank Lewis.
Leaping attempt, incomplete. Estes Hood was one of 3 Packers in the vicinity. Johnny Gray and Mike McCoy were the others.
Watch the very end of this play. Lewis, McCoy underneath. It was close, but look at the Packers. 3 in the general vicinity, 2 in coverage.
McCoy was the guy who knocked it down.
Packers have done a great job in covering the Buffalo receivers all day long.
3rd and 10 from the 24. In trouble. Dodges the rush. But the pass is low and incomplete, intended for Perry Tuttle.
One of the few times Ferguson has been really hustled on the day on a good pass rush up front. Looked like Mike Butler was there to get in his face. Once again, you'll see pressure comes from the outside. Also 53 Douglas up the middle, but he's picked up good. And this is where he appears to hurry it a little bit. Doesn't really step forward with that front foot. Therefore, the ball goes right into the ground.
7:29 remains in this one. They line up a triple receiver set to the right. And another receiver out to the left. So 4 wide receivers are in. And the shotgun on 4th and 10. There's the completion. Very close to a first down.
I think he got it.
It depends on the spot, Trump. Mike Mosley made the catch and Maurice Harvey the tackle.
Boy, it's very close. I think when they have the ball, he made the first down. If not, missed it very short. See, this is a young receiver here. Now, a veteran receiver would know he's got to get to that line right there. They should give him the first down. If he gets to that line, it's a first down. We'll see. It's going to be close. That's why they have the chains.
First down. You know, the funny thing is, they will measure it to the millimeter with the chains, and yet, no matter how hard an official tries, there's a leeway of at least a couple of feet on the spot.
Sure. That happens.
Well, these Packer fans are greedy. They're hollering over that call, not content with a 30-7 lead. 6:54 left. Joe Cribbs is inside the 10-yard line before Maurice Harvey knocks him down.
Tell you what, the defensive backs of the Packers have just about had their way with the Buffalo receivers. That was Harvey on the inside, and it appeared to be Johnny Gray on the outside coverage on Cribbs. Excellent job. Watch Ferguson step to the receiver. No, he really doesn't step that hard. That may be one of the reasons he's having trouble throwing the ball. As I say, Harvey on the outside, Gray on the inside.
Clock moving with 6:15 left. McCone to the left, Lewis to the right. Ferguson had it batted down at the line of scrimmage by Mike Butler. Mike Douglas from his linebacker spot was putting pressure on and almost got the sack, and then Butler's 77 smacked it away.
You know, with this shortened season, we may be seeing one of the byproducts of it. That is, the point differential in games played is very, very important. And the Packers trying to shut Buffalo off here. They want that 30-7 point differential. 23 points might help them in the long run. There's going to be a lot of teams tied at, well,
5 and 4, maybe.
5 and 4, yeah. 6 and 3, 7 and 2.
5 and 4 ought to get you in one of the 8 places in each conference, but then you start looking for home field advantage and more favorable pairings, as one will play 8 and 2 will play 7. Touchdown. They get the touchdown to the tight end, Mark Bramer.
I believe that's the first the Packers have allowed in the fourth quarter this season.
You are correct again. It comes with 5:57 remaining. And for Ferguson, it's his 6th touchdown throw of the year.
Interesting pass pattern by Bramer. He makes contact with the strong safety on purpose and then gets away from him. It's not the strong safety. John Anderson, the linebacker, 59. Johnny Gray there as the strong safety. But a tight end will go down and try to initiate contact. Then be in control of the contact, bounce off the receiver, and at that point, the quarterback drills it in there.
That's Bramer's first touchdown catch of the year. The snap was high, but Robinson got it down, and Herrera booted it through. And so the score with just under 6 minutes to play in the game. The Packers 30 and the Bills 14. Onside kick coming. The Packer fumble. Took the Bills 7 plays to go 25 yards. The last 8 of it Ferguson to Bramer.
Bob, look at this setup here. Obviously an onside kick. Green Bay expecting it. 2, 4, 6, 7. This is interesting. Look, 4 around the ball.
They tried to give him a running start.
Didn't work.
Interesting attempt, though. Bill Whitaker, number 30, fielded it for the Packers and held on. Let's go to New York.
Okay, Bob, thank you. Len Berman, NFL 82. Perhaps the play of the day, the Giants have taken the lead. Bruner, 40 yards. Look at this catch by Butch Wolflip, turning around, one-handed, grabs it. He goes in and scores, and the Giants have just tacked on a safety. Let's go back to you, Bob.
All right, thank you, Lenny. The ball at the 48-yard line of Buffalo after the failed onside kick attempt by the Bills. And let me correct myself. I thought at first that it was Whitaker, number 30, but they put James Lofton up there, and he was the guy who grabbed it.
Bob, if this score remains the same and the Green Bay Packers win, to show you how this team has turned around, they won 6 of their last 8 last year. If they win this one, it'll be 4 or 5 this year. That means they will have won 10 of their last 13 games, and 2 of those losses to the New York Jets. So they are certainly a dominant factor in the NFL this year.
Both of those losses were at New York, as I recall. The one on the last game of last season dashed what slim playoff hopes the Packers had. Dickey wants to go to the air. A diving catch by Epps. Speaking of games in New York, Epps had touchdown receptions of 24 and 23 yards last week in the 15-13 loss to the Jets.
Very sure-handed receiver. Once again, you'll watch. This is just a quick timing pass by Dickey. Fakes to the running back. Still musters it in there. Epps with that outstanding speed. Lamar Parrish in coverage there.
I tell you, if Epps catches that in full stride, he might just scoot into that little gap and go all the way.
Gone, you're right. 4.3 speed in the 40. That's hardly visible.
The only fellas I can think of who would be in his class in terms of sheer speed in the league would be Ronaldo Nehemiah now with the 49ers, maybe Lamb Jones with the Jets, Curtis Dickey perhaps with the Colts.
That would be a pretty good relay team.
Eddie Lee Ivory with the carry on first down. Charles Romes made the stop. Now Ivory exits, and Del Rogers comes back in with another play from the sideline. Clock running, 4:10 to play right now. Second and 5 at the 25 for the Pack. Del Rogers carries just to the line of scrimmage, third down.
You know, Bob, coming into this game, the Buffalo Bills had the third best defense against the rush in the NFL. They were allowing an average of about 93.8 yards per game. And even though they're trailing 30-14, they have just allowed 93 yards rushing for the day. Shows you how much that turnover situation is. Remaining games for the two teams. Would you favor the Packers in that? Detroit twice, Baltimore and Atlanta?
With that schedule and a mark of 4-1, they're sitting pretty. Mark Rupenian, a youngster out of Boston College, number 99, made the tackle on the last play for Buffalo. Jefferson, did he hold it? He did. Lamar Parrish on the coverage. I don't think they have the first down. I think they're just short of it.
I think they're going to mark it just short. Agreed. That was close to an interception by Lamar Parrish.
Well, they're going to mark it incomplete, so that takes care of the whole question.
Yeah. You are right. Lamar Parrish is a defensive back, punt returner. For the years that he's played in the NFL, I believe he has 13 touchdowns. In
various ways. Kick returns, blocked field goals run back, fumble recoveries, interceptions returned for touchdowns. He has 47 career interceptions. Back to the matter at hand, a 42-yard field goal attempt by Stenerud for what would be his 4th three-pointer of the day. Out of the hold by Stakowicz. It's good. There's a flag on the play.
Now, what do you do? I think they got Buffalo offsides. Do you take the first down or do you take the 3 points? They may have a very interesting choice to make here. It appeared to me the outside man on the lineup for the Buffalo Bills was lined up in the neutral zone, therefore offside.
Let's see what Ben Dreith says. .301 on the clock. You want 3 in hand, or do you want the ball and a crack at 4 additional if you get in for the touchdown plus the extra point and run some more time off the clock?
Defense offside. Defense have 12 men on the field. Decline the penalty. 3 points.
Take the bird in the hand.
Saturday with basketball at 1:30, football at about 3:30 Eastern on NBC.
Bob, our statistician, Steve Nance, may have a point. If they take the first down, there's 3 minutes and 1 second left. Buffalo may not get their hands on the ball again. I mean, the odds are certainly against them scoring 3 touchdowns, but you may seal the victory by taking the ball, taking the first down. Left to be discussed for those with a mug in their hand, I suppose.
They'll be wearing smiles in Green Bay and frowns in Buffalo over those mugs tonight. Stenerud to kick it off. He's got to be awfully close to Jim Bakken right now, doesn't he, Steve? Let's see what his figure is. He's got 4 field goals and 3 points after today for a total of 15 points. Here's Holt on the return, and a good one. Out to nearly the 40-yard line. Mike Jolly, number 21, with the Packer tackle. Holt got his opportunity when McKnight had difficulties early, and one of the few bright spots today for Buffalo, Holt as a kick returner.
He has done an excellent job. And coming into this ballgame, the Buffalo Bills have not been a bad special teams team. Shows good quickness here, good movement. And he hangs on to the ball, which is most important in game conditions like we've seen today.
The Giants come from behind at home and beat the Oilers 17-14 after trailing 14-3. Bruner to Woolfolk for the winning touchdown with just over 3 minutes to play in the game. Everybody had a crack at it. Nobody got it here.
Is that Matt Robinson now at quarterback for the Buffalo Bills? Ferguson sitting down?
Certainly is. The former New York Jet.
That, I think it's safe to say, was thrown into a crowd.
Talking about Stenerud earlier, we mentioned that he's 4th all-time in NFL scoring. He was very close to Jim Bakken. He'll pass him next week if he hasn't already. We're trying to check that stat. For 3rd place, we're told he has gone by Jim Bakken, and he's now in 3rd place all-time NFL scoring. He's got a good chance at surpassing Jim Turner. Unless he can kick for about 5 more years, he's not going to pass George Blanda. First sack of the day for either club as Robinson goes down in the grasp of Casey Merrill, number 78. Ezra Johnson also helped to apply some pressure.
And that's just the 5th time this season that Buffalo quarterbacks have been sacked over the last 2 years. And the offensive line of the Buffalo Bills has been masterful at protecting the quarterback.
Robinson. Oh, a great catch by Frank Lewis. A one-handed catch. And into Packer territory at the 48. Well, they can just pull this one out in the highlight film, not mention the circumstances, and it looks like the play of the year.
This is the 3rd pass attempt of the season by Matt Robinson. That is an outstanding catch by Frank Lewis.
2 minutes and 5 seconds remaining. 33-14 Green Bay.
Good use of the clock here. Take the timeout now. They run another play, and they get the 2-minute warning. They'll get an extra timeout in this last 2 minutes. 30.
From the 47-yard line of Green Bay, Robinson out of the shotgun. Another completion. It's a first down. Catch made by Mike Mosley, one of their reserve wide receivers. We've reached the 2-minute warning with the Packers in front 33-14. And as always, at the 2-minute warning, it's time for our fantastic finish with Len Berman and company after the game. That's where Bernie Brewer usually hangs out during the baseball season.
I wonder how much you have to pay to sit in that seat. That looks like a pretty good vantage point for a professional football game.
Ever see Bernie Brewer do his act?
Yes.
Brewer hits a homer. He slides down into the mug.
With Gorman Thomas, Cecil Cooper, Ben Ogilvie. He does a lot of that.
What they hit as a team. 213 home runs this year. Robinson's pass. Juggled and dropped by Maurice Harvey. He's already picked one off today, as well as recovering a fumble.
That was a strike. Harvey was open, though. Watch this. It's trying to take advantage of the double rotation zone. Corners up, safety's out. The ball is thrown too far inside. Harvey standing right there to make the interception. All he had to do was finish it off.
Check this out, Trump. Halftime in Baltimore, the 0-4 Colts lead the 3-1 Bengals 10-6. That's at the half. 10-6 Baltimore. Robinson fires. Wants Mosley. He's got it. Nobody touched him, so he can get up. But that apparently is more difficult than it sounds. First and goal for Buffalo.
They rule the ball out of bounds. Good reception by Holt. Robinson here, good set. Always had a strong arm. It's a little bit of pressure. But you can see the defensive back having trouble keeping his feet. And Mr. Holt has trouble getting up. Excuse me, Mike Mosley on the reception.
The applause you may hear in the background, they just put it on the message board here, that Stenerud, with 1,381 career points, has surpassed Jim Bakken on the all-time list. But George Blanda, who's in first place, has better than 2,000. He has 2,002. Just about out of reach. Robinson with all kinds of time. Flag in the end zone. I think the pass was short-hopped by Perry Tuttle.
The pass was intended for Buster Barnett. Went right through his hands.
Interference.
In some area of Perry Tuttle's body,
the ball goes
which he
on
did
the
not
1-yard
catch.
line.
It appears there's going to be pass interference against the Green Bay Packers. They'll have it 1st and 10 on the 1. Tuttle slow in getting up.
Understandably so. A minute 38 remains. First down again, and this time it's, let's say, at the 1-yard line.
We got a late arriving Buffalo Bill coming on the field here. They may either have to take a timeout. No. He's the 11. Well, let's see. 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. I think there's 12 in on the field, Bob.
You're right. Tuttle goes off.
And a timeout taken.
Flag goes down, though.
Mass confusion. I think Chuck Knox would have hoped that his 3-1 football team
Offense
would have performed a lot better and kept their head in the game better than they have today. That's inexcusable right there.
Trump, during the commercial, you pointed something out to me which is interesting. The Bills are playing their first road game, as we mentioned earlier, of the year after 4 straight home games. Last year, during the regular season, which saw them go 10-6, they were just 3-5 on the road. Now they'll be 0-1 on the road. Maybe that's coincidence, or maybe they are a significantly better team at Rich Stadium.
Shouldn't be. This is a veteran football team. Generally, when you have a young team, they have a difficult time winning on the road. But when you got people like Ferguson, and their offensive line is a good veteran team. So is their defensive line. Skill positions, generally with a great deal of experience. That should not happen.
They'll be back home next week against the Steelers. Robinson with the fake. The lob to the end zone, and it's over the head of Buster Barnett. That has a football player's sound to it. Buster Barnett.
Certainly a lot better than Milton Plum, all things considered. Or Carroll Dale. Although he was my favorite player because I wore his number. He was 84. I was 84. Speaking of old Packers, 2 booths to our left is Max McGee.
The hero of Super Bowl I.
And Paul Horning's all-time running buddy. For after hours, those two guys could print a book, from what I understand.
Better left unpublished, probably. Robinson, touchdown. Mark Bramer has it. That's his second touchdown reception of the day.
Bob, I'll tell you what, they should have thrown a flag, too. John Anderson had a hold of Bramer from the line of scrimmage to the point where he caught the football. How in the world he ever got loose, I'll never know. I do believe Robinson is looking totally for Bramer all the way. And there was contact from the beginning of that play to the end of that play between 59 Anderson and 86 Bramer of the Bills. But they're on the board.
Herrera for the 21st point out of Robinson's hold. And it's through there. A minute 29 remaining. 33-21 Green Bay.
Bill showing some character, not about to give up.
Well, they showed us a very interesting onside kick configuration last game. Let's see here. San Diego 30-13 over Cleveland. That's the final now. Miami wins it over Minnesota. The Vikes are 2-3. The Dolphins are 4-1. And as we told you earlier, the Giants overcame a 14-3 deficit and beat the Oilers. Philadelphia closes the gap on the Cardinals to 23-20. Buffalo does have 2 timeouts remaining.
Here we go with that strange onside kick again.
Tampa Bay brings New Orleans back to reality. We're told that's a final now. 26-13 Bears. Here's the onside kick attempt again. Again, Lofton in the vicinity. And Lofton fields it for the second straight time. That's dangerous duty for a valuable piece of property like Lofton, who got his head handed to him on that play.
Generally, though, on the onside team, you've got the guys inside protecting that man, trying to get a block on the first guy down. Watch the kick by Herrera. Very talented individual. This barely goes 10 yards. But you see the guy blocking there, trying to take care of the first man down? Oh, that's a good job by Lofton, because as soon as he made contact with the ball, he was made contact with.
Dickey's been in there all the way for Bart Starr's Packers. Eddie Lee Ivory. Flag goes down.
Thrown very late.
Clock stops, a minute 20. Joey Lumpkin, a rookie linebacker from Arizona State, got in on the play, wearing number 60.
Holding Green Bay. I think they're going to call it on number 33 of the Green Bay Packers, Jim Jensen. Tried to get a lick on Fred Smerlas. Quite a size disparity there.
Here's Ben Dreif.
Offense, 74 holding.
Oh, it's Tim Huffman.
Over here.
Over here, says Ben Dreif.
My apologies to Jim Jensen. I wrongly accused him. 74 on the hold.
Let's pause briefly for station identification on the NBC television network.
WEAU TV 13, Eau Claire.
Bob Costas and Bob Trumpy in Milwaukee with a minute 20 remaining. And the Pack with a 33-21 lead. First and 20. Jensen gets the carry for next to nothing. Ben Williams makes the stop. Unfortunately, Trump, Jim Laslovic of Green Bay has not been in on any plays today, so we're just going to have to go out of our way to mention this. Laslovic on Tuesday morning, and I know you'll be watching on NBC, makes an appearance on the Wheel of Fortune Tuesday morning on NBC. And we're told that a couple of years ago, this is key stuff now, I want you to pay attention. A couple of years ago, there he is, number 60. He was on high rollers and walked off with $26,000 in cash and merchandise. Can he repeat that incredible performance? Tune in Tuesday morning when Jim Laslovic stars on the Wheel of Fortune right here on NBC.
I think that was more of an audition than it was a bit of information. You trying to turn out to be Wink Martindale or something, Costas?
That's too lofty an ambition, I'm sorry. A minute 5 remaining. kill time here, Val. What are you talking about? Only this man in the yellow hat and Tobin Rote have thrown more touchdown passes in a Packer uniform than has Lynn Dickey.
I got a bit of information for you.
Let's have it.
Pertains a little more to the football game than your last bit.
Ease up.
I was very surprised to find that there have only been 2 coaches in the history of the Green Bay Packers with winning percentages. Curly Lambeau, who coached the Green Bay Packers for their first 31 years, and Vince Lombardi, 9 years. And between those 2 gentlemen, they have 11 NFL championships, which is the most of any team. The storied past of the Green Bay Packers, I thought there were a lot more coaches that had winning percentages, but just 2, Curly Lambeau and Vince Lombardi.
Jensen again on the carry. Dan Devine got them into the playoffs that one year, 72, as I recall, but on balance, he had a losing record. Phil Bankston had a losing record in his short tenure. Starr is the 3rd coach since the Lombardi era ended.
2 years ago, Starr was the head coach and general manager. He relinquished that general manager's job. And last year, as I said earlier, there were a lot of people in the area that wanted Bart Starr gone. And the Green Bay Packers, which are a publicly held company, gave him a new 2-year contract, and certainly was the right choice. Buffalo, I believe, is out of timeouts now, so.
Don't forget New Year's Day on NBC. Begins with the Fiesta Bowl, Oklahoma against Arizona State. That's at 1:30 Eastern Time. Then we continue out to Pasadena for the Rose Bowl. Dick and Merlin will be there. Michigan against UCLA. And then on into the night at the Orange Bowl in Miami. Nebraska against LSU. A triple header. New Year's Day and night on NBC. This is 3rd down and let's say 16 from the 47 of the Packers. 57 seconds left and Buffalo can't stop it again. Rodgers.
Stay in bounds. Good job.
The Packers will have to punt now for the first time in the game. Steve Dans shakes his head and says no.
Let's wait and see when they start the clock. They have not spotted the ball yet.
Yeah, I guess they could elect to just run a play.
Okay, 35 seconds left. They will have to punt the ball, or they can take the penalty.
Yeah, they could run a play, and probably the time would run out since Buffalo can't call a timeout. Take 30 seconds, take the penalty. They have 5 seconds left, run a play, go take a shower.
Although at the point where the ball is down on that final play, change of possession inside 2 minutes, the clock is supposed to stop. But we're nitpicking now. Bob.
Yes?
All week you and I have talked about this football game. There is no way in the world, I thought, between the 2 teams there'd be 54 points scored, especially considering the weather. Green Bay has done an outstanding job of moving the ball in the face of a great deal of adversity. 1, the Buffalo defense. 2, the weather and the conditions.
Offense.
And Buffalo has shown a great deal of character, not giving up, coming back after all those fumbles and interceptions in the first half to score 21 points.
6 seconds remaining.
Let's see how they handle this. They let it run out, or if they stop the clock as the ball carrier is tackled.
They can run around in circles for a while if you just want to consider all the possibilities. Harlan Huckleby. 1 second. That's it. Chuck Knox and Bart Starr. Knox is 3-2. Starr's 4-1.